Good morning. Welcome to the KSP Training Academy and our 75th anniversary open house. On behalf of the entire agency, thank you for attending. Today, we gather to recognize a significant milestone for the Kentucky State Police, 75 years of service. We had planned on having several outdoor displays for you to tour, but due to the weather, we had to downsize things a little bit. On July 1st, 1948, Governor Earl C. Clements signed into law an act that created the Kentucky State Police. With the stroke of a pen, Kentucky became the 38th state to have a statewide police organization. Before we get too far, I want to take the opportunity to recognize some special guests celebrating with us today. Governor Andy Beshear, Justice Secretary Kerry Harvey, retired Colonel Tim Hazlett, Deputy Secretary Keith Jackson, Tim Mullins, KSPPA President, many KSP retirees, and part of Cadet Class 104. Thank you. Today is a very important day. While we are here to celebrate the Kentucky State Police, we must not forget about what today means for many of us. On June 19th, 2021, President Joe Biden signed into legislation that made Juneteenth, which falls on June 19th, a federal holiday. It is the annual commemoration of the end of slavery in the United States following the Civil War. On this day, KSP joins citizens across the country in recommitting ourselves to the work of equity, equality, and justice. Along with Commissioner Burnett and Governor Beshear, we are honored to have two of our retired lieutenant colonels with us today. Both have left their footprints on the success of this agency. To my left is retired Colonel Linda Mayberry, and next to her is retired Colonel Robert Milligan. We will hear from both of them shortly. Welcome. Our first speaker today is a 28-year veteran of our agency who has served in numerous assignments and held every rank achievable. Appointed Commissioner in April of 2021, please welcome Colonel P.J. Burnett, Jr.
Thank you, Captain Blanton. Good morning. Thank you for everyone for being here to celebrate this significant milestone of our agency, the history of Kentucky State Police, 75 years. But before I begin, I'd also like to thank Governor Beshear, other dignitaries, our KSP Foundation, KSPPA, retirees, a multitude of people that I was hoping maybe some of our fallen officers' family would be present, but I don't see any here, but I also want to recognize those every time. But I'd also give a special thank you to Lieutenant Colonel, retired Linda Mayberry and Robert Milligan for being here to speak at this momentous event. I know as a younger trooper, I saw their loyalty to the agency and their drive and how you crafted the vision and where the state police is today. And on behalf of the Kentucky State Police, I want to thank you for being here. July the 1st, 2023 will officially mark the day that our agency celebrates its 75th anniversary. But we have been celebrating throughout the year with a multitude of different events and activities to recognize such. The marked Charger that you see before you received the paint scheme and decals to emulate the 1978 Cruiser that we have in here. You will notice on the door seal that it included a 75th anniversary logo. We use this vehicle at parades, car shows, and yes, it's even a fully operational cruiser that we have used on enforcement details so far. We hosted a 75th anniversary car show where we had nearly 400 classic cars show up and proceeds benefiting our trooper outreach programs. Trooper Teddy, Cram the Cruiser food drive, and Trooper Island Camp are just a few to name. I'd like to talk about our 75th anniversary committee. They developed a challenge coin, T-shirts, ball caps for our employees to purchase, a commemorative badge, lapel pin, hat pin, and one very significant item which was created was the 75th anniversary 357 Magnum that is still available for purchase if you so desire. Just last weekend, the 75th Anniversary Committee hosted a celebration ball in Lexington where nearly 500 KSP current and retired employees attended. This was a tremendous event that our Public Affairs Branch and Committee worked tirelessly to ensure all who attended would have an unforgettable night. And boy, did they. If you were unable to attend, we have a short clip of that we'd like to show you. John? Branch did an outstanding job coordinating all that. They worked on the planning for almost a year for that event, and I'd like to give them a special thank you. If you see the bow tie, that's probably the only 2 times I've ever wore a bow tie, so my wife had to get that to match her dress, so, but you'll see that. You understand, sir? So you can see we have been celebrating this milestone in our history, and we will continue to do so throughout the remainder of this year. I'd also like that the committee raised all the funds through this event through merchandise sales and fundraisers. No state dollars were used at any of these events or celebrations. Very impressive and a clear display of how much work and effort they put into this. In 75 years, the Kentucky State Police have come so far. Earl Clements, the 47th governor of Kentucky, was responsible for signing into law and establishing the Kentucky State Police. He appointed the first commissioner, Guthrie Crowe, to lead our agency. And upon becoming commissioner, Mr. Crowe told a reporter it was his goal to create a police force in Kentucky that all Kentuckians could be proud of. He further stated he wanted troopers to be courteous, efficient, and attractive in appearance, but firm in their treatment of law violators. Pay special attention to that Cadet Class 103, that statement. That's what we still stand on and what we have today. But can you imagine if he could look into the future or look into what today is in 2023 to realize his dream continues on today? To see that while 75 years has passed, the agency has not wavered. It's only become stronger, where Kentuckians value and support what we do. We will continue to honor the heritage of those who forged our past while embracing the same determination and resilience to navigate the future. To our troopers and officers, absolutely the core of our agency. Without them, current and retired, there will not be a Kentucky State Police. They run into danger when others are running away. They leave their homes, their families each day with the knowledge that it could be their last moment with the ones they love most. That is a sacrifice that we have chosen when we wear our badge. But our troopers and officers could not do what they do alone. They cannot do it without the heart of the agency. And what is the heart? It's our people. It's all of our people. Whether they wear the KSP seal on their shoulder or they wear it on their chest, our telecommunicators, our forensic lab, our driver's tester, our CVE inspectors, communication staff, financial branch management staff, administrative staff, and I can go on and on and on. There's so many to mention that make the mission of the agency go with what we're desired to do. Our civilian personnel are second to none, and without them, again, we cannot achieve our mission. And I see some retirees out in the crowd today, and it pleases me so much to see you here. You and others that weren't able to attend, you have inspired generations, mentored countless individuals, including myself, and created a legacy that will forever be etched in with Kentucky State Police. Retirees have created a game plan. We just have to follow it and make adjustments as we go to deal with the ever-changing obstacles that we deal with today and in the future. When we talk about what has made our agency what it is, no one has given more to our agency than the 37 troopers and officers and their family members of those who lost their lives in the line of duty. The ones that truly gave all to the Kentucky State Police and Kentucky. They sacrificed their life for that of another, and our agency must never forget their sacrifices. All of these that I have mentioned, we are the Kentucky State Police. 75 years ago, amidst a world brimming with challenges, this remarkable agency embarked on a journey of commitment and resilience. It embraced the spirit of innovation, adapting to changing times and contributing to the growth and success of our Commonwealth in ways beyond measure. Throughout this time, we have witnessed transformations, faced adversity head-on, and remained steadfast in our pursuit of excellence. As we commemorate this momentous occasion, let us remember that invaluable lessons we have learned from those who went before us. Let us embrace the same determination and strength as we navigate the challenges that lie ahead. We are proud to have played a significant role in the history of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and we remain committed to contributing our tradition of excellence of those who came before us in service and protection for many years to come. Today, we honor our Kentucky State Police. And we have our guest today. It's always an honor to have Governor Beshear join us, especially for such an event that means so much to our agency and our KSP family. Elected the 63rd Governor of Kentucky in November 2019, he also served as our Kentucky Attorney General. Always a great supporter of the men and women of the KSP. Please join me in welcoming Governor Beshear. Governor, before you get started, we want to present you with a gift that will mark this significant day in history. This shadow box includes a patch and also the 75th anniversary challenge coins. But what's so special about this as well is that this patch was worn by one of our men and women in uniform.
Oh, wow.
But challenge coins are given to members of the agency and to those who we honor for their commitment to this agency. It is my honor to present this to you today.
Thank you. Why don't we step this way? So she's Wow, thank you to Commissioner Burnett. He is doing a phenomenal job for the Kentucky State Police. He has my full confidence, and it is exciting to see some of the things that are going on in this agency. And I'm really glad we chose to do the picture over here because I am 1 year older than that vehicle. But pretty amazing to see the Kentucky State Police past and present, and of course, with this new class, the future. It is great to be here with you today to celebrate our amazing Kentucky State Police. You all have been making this state a safer place for 75 years. We are thankful for all of our Kentucky State Police who have served our Commonwealth, but most importantly, our families. I am grateful for your heroic service and your sacrifice to Kentucky and our people, not just as your governor, but also as a dad who wants to see his two kids be safe every single day. There is no greater importance than a safe community where families feel protected, whether they're going to work, school, church, or just to see their friends. I thank all of you here today, from our troopers and officers to our telecommunicators and our civilian team members. It takes everyone to make the Kentucky State Police operate at the highest of levels, and we all owe a big thank you to those that came before us, our retirees. And I'm proud to tell you that last month we got our first bond rating upgrade in about 13 years, which means the pensions of every single one of our KSP retirees who are here today are safer than they've been in decades. We made that promise to you, and we're keeping it. We also owe a big thank you to the families of everyone that works for the Kentucky State Police, especially our troopers. It's not just you that risk your lives stepping between danger and the rest of us each day. It's that thought that you might not be able to come home to your families so that we can come home to ours. I know that that is an amazing show of bravery from our troopers, but also of your families that share in that risk and that sacrifice, and we are grateful to each and every family member that supports you each day. KSP troopers and officers uphold the highest standard of excellence, sometimes at the highest of costs. Scripture reminds us there is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. These sacrifices create a debt of gratitude that we will never be able to repay, but we will always honor those we've lost, and we will wrap our arms around their families and walk with them not just in the days and the weeks and the months after the worst of the worst, but in the years and the decades that follow. Each day, you also continue to honor their sacrifices by what you do, showing up to continue that mission to protect our Kentucky families. No matter the time or the day, no matter the challenge, you are there. You often serve as the first line of defense in tough, heartbreaking situations. As governor, I've seen firsthand as KSP has shown both bravery and compassion during unprecedented challenges. From a global health pandemic, to devastating tornadoes, to historic flooding, the Kentucky State Police has responded each and every time. From 2 ice storms to 2 windstorms, to a polar plunge, negative 45-degree wind chill in Kentucky, KSP was still out there, even when it's dangerous, even when frostbite can happen in just a matter of minutes, to protect everybody else that's on the road. Often first on site, troopers and officers work quickly to help those in need while also leading with their values and showing kindness. Remember, we can be tough and kind at the same time. All right? That's what our Lord teaches us to be. KSP heroes have searched for missing loved ones, delivered water and food, conducted wellness checks, and they even helped my wife, First Lady Brittany Beshear, deliver on 2 incredible toy drives to those affected by disasters to make sure that kids who had been through the worst got to have the best. The kids that hadn't just lost their Christmas presents, they lost all of their toys, had a Christmas where they didn't want for a single present. Simply put, the bravery, selflessness, and compassion of KSP is unparalleled. You have shown this for 75 years in many ways across all of our Kentucky communities. Through the Safe Schools program, you help school officials make the best plans and make sure they're prepared to protect their students. During the Christmas season, you cram the cruiser to provide food items for families and children to make sure no one goes hungry. You go above and beyond, helping bring relief and support to our most vulnerable children, many of which, when you see them, have been through the most traumatic of events. And through the Angel Initiative, you provide support to those struggling with addiction, trying something new to help those in need that voluntarily come forward. And let me tell you, because of your work in seizing record amounts of fentanyl, and also these approaches like the Angel Initiative, we were one of only 8 states last year to see a significant decrease in overdose deaths. That's something while the rest of the United States is ticking up in, you ought to take great pride that when you go to work and fight for the inches that become the feet, that become the yards, that become the miles of progress, it means that there are more people here this year than the year before or the year before that are going to be able to celebrate that next holiday with their families. That your work, though you might not see it every individual day, is making a difference like most states are not seeing. I certainly applaud your efforts, and my goodness, we look at just the amount of fentanyl between October 2022 and March of 2023, 7 months. With you all working and often leading our Kentucky Counter Drug Program, we in Kentucky seized 142 pounds of fentanyl. That could have killed 28.9 million people in this country. You serving in this critical mission at the most difficult and dangerous of times does not go unnoticed, and for your sacrifice, we are grateful. Each sworn officer and civilian employee work together and provide a unity that makes the Kentucky State Police one of the nation's premier law enforcement agencies. And I'm glad that through our last budget, we were able to pay you closer to what you're worth. We will continue to try to make sure that you have the benefits that you deserve. I continue to believe every trooper, including the newest, deserve the full pension that was available to our retirees that are here today. When we ask you to show up every day risking everything, you ought to know you're getting the very best. And I want you to know, as the governor in this 75th anniversary, I will continue to work with the commissioner and others to try to secure the very best. You embody the true spirit of what we call Team Kentucky, being there for everyone, everywhere, all the time, especially when they need it the most. I've been proud to stand with you. That's why we fought for those raises. That's why we continue to push for your safety. And that's why we will not stop supporting you for everything you do for us. I can tell you in my lifetime, I've had 3 separate Kentucky State Police families, starting out as a 6-year-old when my dad was lieutenant governor, meeting such incredible people that are still family friends to this day, to today, when Kentucky State Police every day make sure that my family is safe and healthy, especially in some crazy times where it might have taken a little more work to make that happen. As governor, I get to see firsthand what you do, how you sacrifice, the time away from your families, the dangers you run into. And I want you to know that this Commonwealth doesn't just appreciate you, they love you. And at times when the noise gets real loud across the country, just look at that individual in your community that you're helping. Just think about that last individual that if you weren't there, wouldn't still be here with us. What you do matters. People feeling safe matter. And every single day when you show up, the people of the Commonwealth of Kentucky feel just a little bit safer. To say the Commonwealth would not be the same without the Kentucky State Police would be an understatement. You're creating a better, safer Kentucky for every family that calls this Commonwealth home, this state that I love, and you do too. So congratulations on 75 years. We thank everyone who made the last 75 so incredible, and we dedicate ourselves to making sure we as an agency only get better and better and better for these next 75 years. Thank you all very much.
Our next speaker today is retired Colonel Linda Mayberry. A former KSP Deputy Commissioner, she has over 25 years of domestic police service. During her tenure at KSP, she was responsible for developing the recruitment branch and had oversight of the administrative and forensic laboratory divisions. Since retirement, she has worked for the U.S. Department of State's Bureau for International Narcotics and is currently serving with the U.S. Department of Justice Criminal Investigative Program. She is the co-founder of the Kentucky Women in Law Enforcement Network and served as the highest-ranking female in KSP history. Please welcome Colonel Mayberry.
Governor Beshear, Commissioner Burnett, Lieutenant Colonel Milligan, members of the Kentucky State Police, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I can think of no greater honor than to have been asked to speak at this event with this group of people, people to whom you once belonged and where you know you're always considered to be a part of the family. It's a tremendous privilege to help recognize such an important milestone in the history of the Kentucky State Police. Sorry, allergies. So let me begin by adding my welcome to this very special day where we come together to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Kentucky State Police. So what to say about the State Police? I have so many memories. But remembering when I was a young trooper in Henderson County patrolling, that I was so very proud to wear that uniform. And I couldn't believe that someone was actually paying me to do this job. I loved it so much. Of course, there were difficult days, and early on, I saw things that a previously sheltered 21-year-old girl from a family in Glasgow, Kentucky could not even imagine. But rather than dampen my enthusiasm, I knew even then that I had been granted a unique opportunity and that maybe I could have a part in helping make things better for some people. At some point, the best troopers discover that enforcing laws and making arrests are really a small part of the job compared to the opportunity to make a positive impact on people's lives. The men and women of this organization over the past 75 years have understood that responsibility and the responsibility of that chosen career. And even though they sometimes endure danger and sacrifice, they do it because they believe in the mission to prevent and deter crime and to protect individual rights. Some things like integrity, professionalism, honor, courage, commitment continue to be the foundation by which this organization lives, and those values will never change. But some change is inevitable, and during my years with the KSP, I've witnessed numerous operational and administrative changes, mostly good, brought about by a team of professionals dedicated to a single noble cause. There are more positive actions that I could conceivably talk about here today, including some that perhaps would not seem so very remarkable given the technology and methods available to today's troopers. But the things that I remember most were not the constantly changing methods to approach crime, the new cars, the newer weapons, the latest equipment. The important things were the things accomplished by people and for people. And as I prepared my remarks, I took a trip down memory lane, even pulling out the 50th anniversary KSP yearbook. The accomplishments described in the first few pages of that book brought back a lot of memories. But not to worry, I won't go too far back and, with all my comparisons and take the risk of being one of those people who say, well, back in the old days, we did it like this. But I will mention some of the new traditions now taken for granted, but that not so long ago brought debatable change. These are just a few of the random few things that I'm proud to be able to say that I witnessed or had a part in implementing. Perhaps the most obvious change is all around us here today. In 2015, the KSP Academy moved to this lovely location from almost, 30 years at the Academy on Versailles Road. And before that, in the 1960s, Academy training took place where Post 12 is now on Louisville Road. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think I might have been the last cadet class. Okay, don't too many people start figuring up the age time here, but in 1980, cadet class 58, Tim Hazlett was also in that class. I think we were the last class at Post 12 to go through recruit training there. Not unlike other police organizations of the time, when I joined the KSP, there were only a few police women, most of whom were in larger metropolitan police departments. State police agencies had much fewer, and in the late 1970s, Kentucky only had one woman trooper. Still struggling to overcome those pre-1970s screening process restrictions, such as height and weight requirements, unrealistic physical ability tests, women still had an uphill battle. Since then, increasing numbers of women, from troopers to colonels to civilian staff, have made their place, becoming responsible for their own careers and serving with pride and honor. Still, most police agencies struggle with recruiting and retaining women in sworn law enforcement positions. And while municipal agencies are affected, the effect on state police organizations is even larger. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, the national average for women is 13% in police agencies. For state police agencies, it remains around 6%. And if we compare ourselves to other countries like Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, they have nearly twice the numbers of women as the US. So as a lieutenant, I was asked to set up a new KSP recruitment office, and among other things, to focus on the recruitment of a diverse workforce. With the help of a very capable staff, we were successful in instituting changes, streamlining the selection process, and recruiting at that time an increased percentage of women and minorities into the state police. The KSP has continued with strong recruitment efforts, ensuring the quality of the KSP workforce and that it remains strong. Today, the KSP has 454 women civilians and 31 women troopers, supervisors, and commanders who have and will continue to enjoy rewarding and successful careers. Not included in this number are the many women who, over the years, have retired from the state police or gone on to other successful careers. Since the 1990s, and although small in number, women have promoted to every rank in the KSP, and some of those serving today no doubt will rise to lead the state police through the next anniversary celebration and into the coming decades. Few would argue that the percentage of sworn women in the agency could be improved in terms of gender representation, but today the KSP moves forward with a clear and broad understanding of the benefits of a diverse workforce and how diversity contributes to a strong organization. Of course, with the increase in women troopers, led to some other changes, including the opening of Trooper Island's boys' camp to girls. Quite the struggle in the 1980s. But I cannot tell you about the excitement among our advocating group. I hate to start mentioning names because I always leave somebody out, but some of the drivers of that group were retirees Mary Jo Sullivan, Sue Goins, Lucille Marshall is here today, Brenda Barnes, among others, when the command staff determined that girls could start attending camp. The 16 posts began rotating to allow girls to attend the girls-only camp 2 weeks of each year. Of course, that meant that the few female troopers and the few civilians who had advocated were asked to attend each year as well. Such great memories. both professional and personal. Now, the Trooper Island Camp routinely hosts both boys and girls for the chance to go to summer camp, designed to build good relationships, good citizenship, and create positive interactions with the police. The KSP civilian recognition was designed and implemented in 2002. I worked with a group of volunteers to include forensic analyst Barb Wheeler, post-16 clerk Jane Haynes, to set the criteria for the selection. And the ceremony has continued as an annual event recognizing the work of countless civilian professionals. Of course, during my time, many challenges and decisions were made to promote operational effectiveness and ensure security. In the 1980s and 90s, we saw the creation of Special Investigations Branch, a Drug Enforcement Division, Highway Safety Branch, drug interdiction teams, award-winning highway safety programs, just to name a few. And then on September 11th, 2001, the Kentucky State Police, like so many agencies, faced the new reality of a global threat to our communities. A host of changes in emergency preparation and response began as the threat of terrorism attacks impacted people, governments, and people around the world. KSP instituted a heightened state of readiness as we took the lead in Kentucky. And in the days following, we dedicated personnel to threat identification, risk analysis, a multi-state intelligence task force, raised awareness, supported information and training, and provided high-level coordination between the police, government, and federal agencies. Like most troopers, I could continue for some time with stories and accolades about the state police and its personnel, but I've used the few minutes that I so proudly received. Today, after 75 years, the KSP has continued to evolve. And at a time where police organizations seem to be constantly rebuked and criticized, the KSP remains a respected agency, staffed by honorable men and women, and concentrating on service to the communities they serve. In closing, and with all humility, I would like to say that I owe so very much to the state police. Dreams, aspirations, excitements, challenges, successes, family. The important international work that I do now to assist U.S. partner governments to build and sustain competent criminal justice systems and develop professional law enforcement organizations is possible because of the foundation, experience, and opportunities afforded to me by my state police career. Thanks to the KSP staff and others who created this celebration event, thank all of you for coming, and thanks for allowing me to be a part of this 75th anniversary celebration. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Mayberry. Our final speaker today is retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert Milligan. In 1976, he graduated from KSP Cadet Class 55 and rose through the ranks to become the first African-American trooper promoted to captain. While at KSP, he attended and graduated the FBI National Academy. His final promotion was to Lieutenant Colonel in 2000 and is the highest-ranking African-American in KSP history. After retiring from KSP, he served as the Director of Law Enforcement for the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. Please welcome Colonel Milligan.
Good morning. Thank you, and thank you for the invitation. I'm very honored, humbled, and pleased that you all would want an old mouse back like me out in front like this. Being mindful that they put a time restriction on us, I had to cut down my presentation, as you can tell. So, come on, people. But anyway, I'm thankful to be here. Governor Beshear, Commissioner Burnett, Linda, so great to see you and Captain Blanton. It's a pleasure to share this occasion with each of you. But first, I want to thank you, Governor Beshear, for your unflinching leadership and service to the people of the Commonwealth of Kentucky and your commitment to and modeling of the biblical principle of servanthood.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. My journey, my history, my tenure with the Kentucky State Police began because of John Anthony Tony Hale, my classmate at the University of Kentucky. Tony was a recruiter for the Justice Cabinet and encouraged me to apply to the Kentucky State Police. I, along with several others, were hired as cadets while awaiting the start of our training class. And we often say that they understood that we were so valuable and we would be so valuable to the agency that they put us in a job so no one else could poach us before starting the cadet class. That's being very humble, we thought that. I think that everyone has spoken today, took a peek at my notes, because everyone mentioned people, and that's what I want to speak to today. An organization is a thing that is made relevant because of individuals who inhabit the organization. Those individuals form relationships one with the other and add substance and viability to the organization. Those relationships are nurtured in the unique environment of a training academy where individuals become a cohesive unit with a shared purpose and identity that is demonstrably peculiar to the position of Kentucky State Police Trooper. I remember several individuals with whom I interacted within the Kentucky State Police. Joe Nation, radio dispatcher, that's what we called him back then, who was totally devoted to the KSP. Captain Rufus Slick Moberly, my first post commander. Captain Moberly was uniquely himself. Captain Norman Bryant, the KSP Academy, fair-minded, extremely dedicated, yet an individual. Trooper James Vest, my field training officer. Gray was what mattered. Mr. Homer Hill, Information Services, always had a wonderful disposition. Mr. Jack Sharp, he and his family were always present at any event sponsored by the Kentucky State Police. My relationship with those individuals was not the same, was not in the same vein as with my classmates or those with whom I worked with every day, but it was a relationship nevertheless. Relationally, I will always remember my cadet classmate and friend, Clinton Cunningham. Who was killed in the line of duty. And I regret did not get to make this journey with us. I shall always remember him. Jack Adams came up through the ranks to become KSP commissioner. We had several enlightening discussions on cultural issues. George Bean, Frankfurt Post, an outstanding narcotics detective. Charlie Cornett, administration sergeant at Post 12, at Hazard Post, who reminded me how to properly pronounce Cornett. Tim, Charlie reminded me one day, I spoke before the Kiwanis Club in Hazard, and Charlie came to me and said, Captain, you pronounce that Cornett. It's not Cornett. That's for the rich folks. Charlie was one of a kind. Patsy Bean, secretary at the Frankfurt Post, who was an encourager as I competed for promotion. Lucille Marshall, current secretary for the commissioner, who left her comfort zone to come to headquarters to work for and with me when I was appointed lieutenant colonel. I will say this about Lucille, And I don't want to embarrass Lucille, but when I asked her to come, she said, well, Colonel, I'll come, but I want you to know that Thursday is beauty shop day. And I acquiesced to that. It is my belief that people within an organization and relationships they form are the spirit and soul of an organization, and that relationships foster accountability one to another. Troopers, and we are always troopers. Regardless of what rank you hold, you are always a trooper. Troopers' families are the most important paradigm in our careers, and my family, Cynthia and Stephen, held firm during my many months of promotional studies and being away from home. My in-laws were also supportive and always supportive and encouraging. I must mention former Governor John Y. Brown Jr., whose influence was himself, and the fact that during my assignment on the executive security detail, I met an eclectic group of people during our travels, as well as getting to know those individuals within his cabinet, and those interactions were educational and impactful and enhanced my confidence. 2 words, fair and impartial. Fair and impartial enforcement of the Kentucky Revised Statute. That statement from my studies at the KSP Academy is in bold print in my mind. It is my belief that fair and impartial is embedded in Kentucky State Troopers' psyche, and those 2 words and the development of relationships factor prominently into the reasons the Kentucky State Police has enjoyed the respect and confidence of the citizens of the Commonwealth for the past 75 years. And I believe we'll continue to perpetuate and enhance the Kentucky State Police image and reputation going forward. So there is a lot riding on you all's shoulders, Cadet Class 103, a lot riding on you all's shoulders, and a lot of people who are looking over your shoulders. So continue to look forward. Don't look back, only to this point of saying, this is how far we have come. Continue to look forward, continue to do those things of which you're trained, because you're receiving some of the best training in the world, and it will carry you through long after you have left this agency. Thank you very much. God bless you.